I expected my friends to be saved. I just expected it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I saw a number of my friends coming and added to the church. And a number of them are now leading in the church. And by now, we're in our 60s, many of us. So, we're getting on a little.
And the same here in California in the 70s, the Jesus movement, almost all the pastors in Israel of Messianic congregations were touched in that movement. So can we be in an outpouring of the Spirit and not be aware of it?
Absolutely. I think absolutely. You're aware of what's happening, but you're unable to define it.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't have the ability to define it. You see, here's a problem. In Wales, people have been longing for the 1904 revival to happen again. They want another Evan Roberts. Mm. But what they forget is that revival comes in so many different ways.
Yes.
It doesn't always come with an ex-young miner who's in grammar school preparing for the ministry. It doesn't come always like that. It doesn't always come with Thomas Charles, a more well-educated person. It doesn't always come through the established church. Doesn't always, and we could go on and on and on talking about this. In America, the 1857 revival, Fulton Street, New York. Yes. That was they were secular people. They were non-priestly, it was just
business people.
Business people praying midday. That spread all over America, and then came to Wales in 1858, and was one of the largest revivals Wales had ever seen. And that was brought over to Wales, and it was called the Prayer Revival. Although it differed somewhat from, by the time it got to Wales, it took on its own flavour. And that was an incredible revival. What I'm saying is, sometimes we miss that something, if God is doing it and touching people's hearts, I'm going to call that revival. If he's touching one person's heart, I'm going to say that's personal revival or renewal. If he's touching a whole church, that's a church renewal. If he's touching a town, and we could go on and on and on. And many of the Welsh revivals that are actually noted, some of them are noted as parts of small town. In the end, you can't say how many revivals there were.
Yes, which I was going to ask.
Because there's so many of them.
Because most people, I've heard 17 major revivals in Wales. Yeah. Then, from 1760 to 1800, there's like 53 revivals just in that 38-year period. So a lot of times maybe it was just a church, or it was just a church that went from a little tiny thing to 200 or 300 conversions.
That's revival, and the people who were in those meetings will say that was revival. Mm-hmm. They look back and they say, I was touched. It was more local, but that's okay. So the Beth Gelert revival was more in North Wales and South Wales. Doesn't mean it wasn't a revival. Mm-hmm. Okay? And you could go on talking about different parts of the world. So the early part of the 18th century Welsh revival happened in South Wales. Not North Wales. Mm-hmm. It was only later with Howell Harris going up there, going through so much persecution. In the Bala, for instance, he was stoned with people.
And then someone on Hay-on Rye was killed, actually? He was stoned?
Hay-on Rye, you're right. You're dead right. Yes, Hay-on Rye. And that was the first Methodist martyr. They call him the first Methodist martyr.
Yeah.
And Hay-on Rye, of course, is, if you're ever in Wales, it's the place to go. It's the largest second-hand book-selling centre in the world.
Collect first editions. So, yeah.
Do you?
I would love to. Oh my gosh, I would love to.
It's fantastic. Yeah. It is fantastic. Hay-on Rye, if you go to Wales, you've got to go to Hay-on Rye for the books.
Okay. Yes.
Well, for the books.
Well, what are the elements to sustain? You mentioned to Kath and to Hannah on the previous interview about